everybody, it's me, it's JoJo Napoli. Today I'm in the kitchen and I'm gonna be making my grandmother's orange cake. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, delicate, citrusy cake that is like a peasant food. So I'm gonna get right into it, and here we go. You're gonna see that the ingredients are pretty simple. Flour, I use plain breadcrumbs, a little bit of baking powder, some vegetable oil, eggs, sugar, lemon, some vanilla, cinnamon stick, and cloves. And there's two parts to the recipe. The first part is making the cake, and then afterwards we make a syrup that we marinate the cake in, and that's what gives it that delicious, sweet, citrusy flavor. And this is like a Sicilian North African dish, and so it's pretty simple and basic. Now, first thing I want to do is I want to move over here and show you, because we're going to need the zest of 2 oranges and 1 lemon and the juice of the 2 oranges and the 1 lemon. So I have this little zester. I already did one, and you could see how it kind of comes out. And I'll just show you how that works. And this is going to be really delicious. Yeah, I started this one, so let me finish. The lemon kind of enhances the flavor because it requires the juice of 2 oranges and the juice of 1 lemon. I don't have a juicer per se, but these are nice navel oranges, and they're good. When they're in, they're cheap. These were 5 for $5. And last but not least, now the lemons, sometimes I'm lucky. The lemons don't have any pits. These have pits. So what I use is this little gadget. And I call it the pit catcher. Just 1/2. All right. So I like to make it in a bundt, in like a bundt pan, so it's got a little style. So the first thing we want to do is, I had some butter melted, is to line the pan, because this is going to go fast. Line with some nice butter so she doesn't stick. And you know, when you use butter, you can use that non-stick spray like Pam or something like that. That'll work too, because it's got, the cake mixture has a fair amount of vegetable oil in it, and it really does make things moist. But this is the way I do it. I don't believe my grandmother would have approved of this, because butter was expensive and oil in those days was less expensive. But that's it. So that's kind of ready. I'm going to put it on the side over here for now. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set the oven to 350 degrees while we're mixing the ingredients. And there we go. All right, we're going to have quite a feast over here to the mixture. You have, like any other cake, you have wet ingredients and you have dry ingredients. So I'm going to start by mixing the dry ingredients, which is going to be 1 cup of sugar, which I have here. We're going to have breadcrumbs. So, and you got to use the plain. Don't use the ones that have the oregano and everything. So I'm going to use the breadcrumbs. I'm going to have some baking powder here, and on the baking powder, I'm going to have 1.5 teaspoons. So I love these things. Here's a 1/2 teaspoon. So we'll do 3 of these, which would equal 1.5. 1, 2, 3. That's your leavening agent. And then with the flour, I'm going to have 1/2 cup of flour. So 1/2 cup of flour. I use the all-purpose flour. This is 1/2 cup, this thing. That's about level. No blender needed. You know, JoJo likes to cook stuff that doesn't require a blender. Got my baking powder in there, got my breadcrumbs, got my flour, got my sugar, and that's it. And we're gonna mix the orange and lemon zests in with the dry ingredients. But what I like to do is, as I said before, I like to chop them up a little bit so they kind of disappear in the cake. And this is the lemon, which enhances the citrus. Mix that all together. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the bowl with the dry ingredients over here. There it is. And put that in. Wow. The citrus smell, the aroma of the citrus is intoxicating, if you like that kind of stuff. Now, there are people that they're not crazy about the citrus. They don't like it. So it's each their own. So then the orange cake is not for them. I'm going to get a little whisk, this guy, just to kind of blend all those flavors and mix them all together. The sugar and the flour, the leavening agent, the zests, now everything, all that is incorporated in there. Now, next we're going to do our wet ingredients. Now, for the wet ingredients, we're going to have a cup of vegetable oil. This one, you know, I don't have any affiliation with any brand or anything like that, but I'll do a cup of vegetable oil, which is about that. It's not boom, bada boom. And I'll have my eggs. I got 4 eggs. One. What I do with the eggs is I take them out a little bit before, like a ½ hour before, to bring the eggs to room temperature. The other thing that I put in that not everybody puts in is I do put in a dash of vanilla extract. Very little. It's just a flavor enhancer. There you go. See how little bit I put in there? It's maybe 1/4 teaspoon. And then we're going to mix this. That's it. That's the batter. See how simple that is? Wow. It's like you almost can pour this on top of ice cream or something. You like the citrus. And let me get a spatula and get my pan. My oven is ready. And we're going to pour the beautiful orange cake batter. It's a beautiful day. Yesterday was very warm. I don't know if I mentioned this, the year of this, because I did an orange cake. It's 2025. I did an orange cake back in the early days, but I'm working with more cameras now. I'm more comfortable in front of the camera. I'm more comfortable editing the videos. So you'll see that this is going to bake. Now I'm going to bake it at 350 for approximately 45 minutes, and then I'm going to check it. And the second part of this recipe, what we do is we make the syrup. So I'm going to put this in the oven. Nice and nice. I'll ask for a timer. Alexa, give me a 40-minute timer.
40 minutes, starting now.
I like to do a little bit less. If it's a 45-minute, I like to check it. Sometimes the cooking time changes depending on the pan, the atmospheric pressure, like things like that. And you find that things that should take an hour to be cooked, they're only cooked in 50 minutes, and vice versa. Sometimes you have to cook them a little bit longer, depending on conditions and equipment. So that'll be in there. And now we're gonna make our syrup. This is real live cooking here. So we gotta move things around and figure stuff out. And that's where I'm gonna put the juice of my oranges. And this is the basis for the syrup. I'm going to take the juice of the lemon, half a cup of sugar, half a cup of sugar, a cinnamon stick. One of my cameras just went kerplunky. So I'm going to put a cinnamon stick in there, and I'm going to put 2 cloves in there. 2, let's put 3. This is what gives the syrup that Mediterranean kind of flavor. And let's get this bad boy going again. Okay, here we are. So this guy is back online. And that's it. So now everything's gonna, while the cake is in the oven cooking, we're gonna turn this on. And it's very important that you keep the temperature somewhat low and you whisk it so it doesn't get stuck. You whisk it because we don't want to whisk. I don't like this whisk. I'm going to take a whisk that has like a plastic, even if it's bigger, like this one. See, it has plastic. I don't like the metal against the metal against the non-stick. It ruins the non-stick. All right, so I'll come back when the syrup starts to get mushy. And yeah, that camera over there is not a happy camper. I think it's getting hot or whatever, so it's not happy. So we're gonna let that rest. We got the syrup going. We got the cake in the oven. We'll be back in about 36 minutes. We're gonna check on the cake to see if it's ready, and I'll show you how the syrup finalizes and how we marinate the cake and have it ready for tonight, for Thanksgiving dinner. So you know, I'll catch you later. All right, we're back, and the timer just went off for us to check the cake to see if it's ready to take out of the oven. So I'm gonna go over here to the cake, and it's got a nice color. Now, I don't know if you could see this, but one sign that it might be ready is that the cake starts to separate from the sides. I don't know if you could see it, but on the sides. And then the next test, we take a knife, a dry knife, and we put it in there. And we see how it comes out. And it's relatively dry. So I'm going to say this is ready. All right? So this is ready. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take it. We're going to put this guy on top of it. And there it is. And there's your orange cake. So now let's set that up. Now, the trick with the syrup is that we have to put the syrup on top of the orange cake. This actually came out beautiful. When it's still warm. So this way it keeps the syrup thin and it absorbs it into the cake. If you wait too long, so we're going to take a spoon and we're going to start to marinate, if you will, with that beautiful and it's okay if a clove falls on there or yep, nice and easy, don't rush it. And we're going to marinate it. And then we're going to make a little decoration, I'll show you, with an orange peel when we come back. All right, I'm back. Okay, here it is. That's beautiful. And then we're going to add, as a garnish, make a little decoration with the orange that makes the cake look pretty and kind of gives it an artistic finish or an artistic flair. So you carefully peel the orange and just keep the knife. Okay, put this orange here. And then what we do is we roll up the orange, and as you can see, it starts to have the appearance of a beautiful flower made with the orange. But there it is, beautiful orange cake. It's going to cool now. It's nicely marinated. That syrup creates like a shell on the outside. Some people like to put powdered sugar. I like to keep it classic. And that's it. So I'll catch you later.